Hi everyone, now we will solve class 10 chapter 4 exercise 4.2 question number 1 part 1 of NCERT book. This chapter is basically to solve the quadratic equation using factor. So the question is, find the roots of the following quadratic equation by factorization. The equation given is x square minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. What we will do is we will solve this equation by factorization of this middle term into two terms, right? So what I'll do is I will divide this minus 3x into two terms, and then further I will simplify this equation to get the factor further. So let us see how to do it. First of all, what you do is multiply a and c. Okay, by a and c what I mean is a is the coefficient of x square, c is this constant term. Here the value of a is 1, value of c is minus 10. So what I will do is I will multiply a and c. What I will get is minus 10, right? So from here, from this value of a, from this value of multiplication of a and c, what I can make out is that this is a negative value, right? From here I can very easily say that the factor of this term, the factor which I will make, one of the factor will be negative and the other will be positive. Why? Because this is a negative term, right? This is a negative term. So I should get two factors. When I will multiply those factors, I should get a negative terms. I can get a negative term only when I will multiply one positive number with one negative number. Got it? Next, what I will do is the addition of those two factors, that should be equal to minus 3, this middle term. Okay, so from here again it is very clear that the higher factor will be negative and lower factor will be positive. Why? Because I have two conditions. One is the multiplication should be negative. It means that one factor will be negative, another will be positive. Second condition says that the addition of those two factors should be minus 3, means the addition is negative. It means that the higher number will be negative, the lower number will be positive. When I will add a higher negative number with the lower positive number, only then I can get a negative addition. So next what I will do is I will make factor of 10. One will be positive, another will be negative. The higher number will be negative and the lower number will be positive, right? So I can make the factor of 10 like this: minus 10, minus 10 and 10. So they will add up to minus 9. So this cannot be my number. Why? Because they will multiply to minus 10, but they will not add up to minus 3. They will add up to minus 9. So I will reject it. So this is not my number. Next what I will do is I will look for the next factor. Next factor is 5 and 2, right? I will keep 5 negative and 2 positive. Why I will do that? Because from the above conditions the higher factor should be negative, the lower factor should be positive, so that they can add up to negative 3, right? So now this factor, these two numbers are satisfying these both conditions, right? So it means that the two numbers, the two factor for which I am looking for is minus 5 and plus 2. So I will fill this minus 5 and plus 2 here. One number I will fill here, another number I will fill here. So that will give me the factorization, right? So I have done it, right? What I have done is, this is x square plus something. So one factor is 2. So I have placed this 2 here. Okay, this one. Another is plus another factor. So because another factor is negative, this is a negative 5, so here plus negative 5 is minus 5, so I have put it minus 5 into x, then minus 10 was already there, so this is minus 10 is equal to 0. Got it? This is the main step of any equations when we want to solve it by factor. Further it is very simple. Now what I will do is, out of these two term I will take x as common. Okay, so what I will get is, if I'll take x common, I will get x plus 2, because if I will take x common from these two terms, so I will, x is common, if I'll remove x from x square, I will be left with x, and if I will remove x from 2x, I will be left with plus 2. From these last two term, I will take minus 5 as common, so I will be left with x plus 2, because if I will remove minus 5 from minus 5x, I will be left with positive x, and if I will remove minus 5 from minus 10, I will be left with positive 2. Right? So next I will take x plus 2 common from both of these terms. Now what I will do is, I will take x plus 2 common from both of these terms. So what I will be left with, if I have taken x plus 2 common, I am left with x minus 5, so I have written it here. So the root of this quadratic equation is that either x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x minus 5 is equal to 0. I will subtract 2 from both sides of this equation. So x plus 2 minus 2 will be x, and 0 minus 2 will be minus 2. I will add 5 in both sides of this equation. So x minus 5 plus 5 is x, and 0 plus 5 is 5. So x is equal to minus 2 or x is equal to 5 is the two root of this quadratic equation, and we have find out these two root. By which method? We have find out these these two roots by factorization. Right? So thank you very much for watching. You can subscribe for more videos. Thank you. Hi, in this series of quadratic equation, today we will solve NCERT Class 10 Chapter 4 Exercise 4.2 question number 1 of 1 part 2. The part 1 of question number 1 is already solved in the other video, so you can watch that video to find out the answer of question 1 of 1. So this question is, find the roots of following quadratic equation by factorization. The equation given is 2x square plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. In factorization, what we do is, we divide this middle term x into two terms, and then further we will take the common from first two terms and one common from these last two terms, and then we will solve this equation. Now how to do that? First of all, we will multiply the coefficient of x square and this constant term. So we call this a and we call this c. So we will multiply a and c. So we are getting 2 into minus 6, which is equal to minus 12. So because this is a negative term, this 12 is a negative term, so from here we can conclude that one factor will be negative, another factor will be positive, because if we want a negative multiplication, that is only possible if we will multiply a negative number with a positive number. Next condition is that the addition of these two factors has to be 1. So from here we can conclude that the higher factor will be positive and lower factor will be negative. Why it is so? Because this condition says that one factor has to be negative and one factor has to be positive, and their addition should be positive. It means that the higher number should be positive and lower number should be negative. Only then we will get a positive addition. Now we will start listing the factors of 12, right? So I am now listing factors of 12. The first is minus 1 and 12. Minus is the lower number which we have got from this condition, and 12 is the positive, is the higher number. So I have taken minus 1 as negative and 12 as positive. But these two numbers are not satisfying this condition because their addition is coming out to be plus 11. So I will reject this number. I will take the next factor of 12, minus 2 and plus 6. From here, if I'll add these two numbers, they will come out to be positive 4. Again, they are not satisfying this condition, so I will again reject these two numbers. Next factor, I'll take minus 3 and 4. If I will add up these two, they will satisfy this condition because they will become positive 1. So these are the two numbers which are satisfying my condition. So I need not to see further because I have got my two numbers. One is minus 3, another is plus 4. So what I will do is I will put these numbers here, right? One number I will put here, another number I will put here. I will put 4 here and I will put minus 3 here. Why? Because when I will put 4 here, so I can take something common from these two because there is something common between 2 and 4. I will put minus 3 here. If I will put minus 3 here, then I can take something common from minus 3 and minus 6. So I have done it like this. What I have done is 2x is as it is. Here I have put plus 4, then plus minus 3 is minus 3x, minus 6 is equal to 0. Now I have taken 2x common from these two terms. Okay, so when I will take 2x common from these two terms, I am left with x plus 2, because if I will remove 2x from 2x square, so I will be left with x, and when I will remove 2x from 4x, I will be left with plus 2. Now I have taken minus 3 common from these two terms. So I have taken minus 3 common, and now I am left with positive x, because if I will take minus 3 common from minus 3x, I will be left with positive x, and if I will take minus 3 common from minus 6, so I will be left with positive 2. Now I will take x plus 2 common from this whole equation. So now what I am left with is I have taken x plus 2 common, so this x plus 2 I have taken common, so I am left with 2x, so I have written 2x here. This x plus 2 again I have taken common, so I am left with minus 3, so this minus 3 I have taken here, right? So now to find out the root of this equation, I have to equate both these terms equal to 0. So the root of the equation will be either x plus 2 is equal to 0 or 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. I will add 2 to both side of, I will subtract 2 from both side of this equation, so I will get x is equal to minus 2. I will add 3 to both side of this equation, I will get 2x is equal to 3. Then x is equal to minus 2 is my one root, and I will divide 2 from both side of this equation, so x is equal to 3 by 2 is the another root of this equation. So these are the root of this quadratic equation. So to subscribe and to watch more video, you can subscribe to the link which is given below, and you will find a lot of videos on the class 10 NCERT mathematics. Right now you will get a lot of videos about the quadratic equation where I will solve the exercise of quadratic equation. Thanks for watching. Hi, now we will solve NCERT Math Class 10 Chapter 4 Exercise 4.2 question number 1 Part 3. Part 1 and 2 have already been solved. So this question says that find the roots of the following quadratic equation by factorization. Root 2x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 is equal to 0. Now what we are going to do is we will split the middle term, this 7x, into two terms so that their addition is equal to plus 7 and their multiplication should be equal to the multiplication of a and c, where a is my coefficient of x square and c is this constant term. So I will multiply a and c. So root 2 into 5 root 2 is equal to 10. So from here it is clear that my factor should be either both negative or both positive. Why both negative? Because if I will multiply the two negative number, I will get a positive multiplication, or if I will multiply two positive number, only then I will get a positive multiplication. The next condition is that the addition of the factor has to be 7. Why 7? This middle, from this middle term. So this second condition says that both factors should be positive. Why? From our condition, condition, it is clear that the factor should be either both positive or both negative. But if I have to get a positive addition from two negative, this is not possible. I can only get positive addition from two positive terms. So my both factor will be positive. Now I will start taking factor of 10 one by one. First I will take 1 and 10. Because both are positive, so I am taking both positive. 1 as positive and 10 also as positive. But 1 and 10 will add up to 11, so I will not get this 7. So this will not satisfy this condition, so I will reject these two factors straight away. Now I will take the next factor. Next factor are 2 and 5. If I will add 2 and 5, I will get 7, so it will satisfy this condition. So plus 2 and plus 5 are my two factor which I have to fill here. So what I will do is I will put the value 2 here and I will put 5 here. So then this equation will look like this: root 2x square plus 2x plus 5x plus 5 root 2 is equal to 0. Now I will take from these two terms, I will take root 2x common, and from these two terms I will take plus 5 common. I have taken root 2x common from the first two terms, so I am left with x plus 2. Why? Because if I will take a root 2 common from root 2x square, I will be left with x, and if I will take root 2x common from 2x, so I will be left with root 2. Next I will take plus 5 common from these two terms. So I have taken plus 5 common, and inside I am left with x, this x, and root 2, this root 2. Next I will take x plus root 2 common from this whole equation. So now what I will be left with, I have taken x plus root 2 common, this x plus root 2, this x plus root 2 I have taken common. So inside I am left with root 2x and plus 5. Right. Now to get the solution of this quadratic equation, I have to put both these factor equal to 0, because this whole equation will be equal to 0 if one of this term is, at least one of this term is equal to 0. So I will put x plus root 2 is equal to 0, or root 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. If I will subtract root 2 from both sides of this equation, I will left with x is equal to minus root 2. If I will subtract 5 from both sides of this equation, so I will be left with the root 2x is equal to minus 5. Now x is equal to minus root 2 I have written as it is. From this equation I will divide both sides of this equation by root 2, so I will be left with x is equal to minus 5 by root 2. So x is equal to root 2 and x is equal to minus 5 by root 2 are the two roots of this quadratic equation. Today we will solve the question number 1 part 4 of NCERT Maths Class 10 Chapter 4 Exercise 4.2, which is of quadratic equation. The part number 1, 2 and 3 of question number 1 of this exercise has already been solved. So this question is, find the roots of the following quadratic equation by factorization. 2x square minus x plus 1 by 8 is equal to 0 is the given equation. To simplify this 1 by 8, what we will do is we will multiply both sides of this equation by 8. So what we will get? We will get 16x square minus 8x plus 1 is equal to 0. So in this equation, when we want to solve the quadratic equation by factorization, so what we generally do is we split this middle term into two terms, right, so that their addition should be minus 8x, but when we multiply, then the multiplication of those two terms should be equal to the multiplication of first and last term. So first of all what we will do is we will multiply the coefficient of x square, right, and this constant term, right. So coefficient of x square is a, the constant term is c, so we will multiply both these terms, so we will get 16. From this, because this multiplication is positive, we can very easily say that the factor which we have to fill here, they both will either be negative or they both will be positive, because this multiplication is positive. Next, the next condition is the addition of those two factor has to be equal to the coefficient of x, which is b. So the addition of those factor has to be equal to minus 8. So because addition has to be minus 8, so we can very easily say that both the factor should be negative, because we should have either both the factor positive or both the factor negative. So we can get negative addition only if we will multiply the two, we will add two negative terms, because if we will add two positive terms, we will never get negative addition. So both the factors will be negative. Now what we will do is we will start listing factors of 16, right, because both should be negative, so I have listed the negative factor of 16. So minus 1 and minus 16 is the first factor, but now the problem is that they will add up to minus 17, so they will not satisfy this condition, so these are not the factors. So we will go for the next pair. The next pair is minus 2 and minus 8. So minus 2 and minus 8 will add up to minus 10, so again they will not be able to satisfy this condition, so I will again reject this factor also. We will go take the next pair. So the next pair is minus 4 and minus 4. So when I will add minus 4 and minus 4, I will get minus 8. So these are the two numbers which are satisfying this condition as well as this condition. So my factors will be minus 4 and minus 4. Next, what I will do is I will write 16x square as it is, which I have taken from here, right. Now what I will do is I will write one of this number here. So what I will get is I will get minus 4x, because I have written this 4 here, because this is negative, so I will get minus 4x. The second number I will write here, so I will get minus 4x again, because I will put minus 4 here. Plus 1 is already there, so of course this equation has to be equal to 0. So now the trick of solving the quadratic equation by factorization is that we have to split this middle term into two terms. Once we have done that, the next step is very easy. What we will do is we will take common from these two terms. We will take 4x common from these first two terms. So what we will get? We have taken 4x common from these initial two terms. So we are left with 4x minus 1, because if I will take 4x common from 16x square, I will be left with 4x, and if I will take 4x common from 4x, I will be left with minus 1. Next, what I will do is I will take minus 1 common from these last two terms, from these two terms. So what I will be left with is, when I will take minus 1 common, I will be left with 4x plus 1. Why? Because if I will take minus 1 common from 4x, I will be left with positive x, and if I will take minus 1 common from plus 1, I will be left with negative x. Right, of course this has to be equal to 0. Now I will take 4x minus 1 common from this whole equation. Right, so when I will take 4x minus 1 common, I will be left with 4x minus 1. I have taken 4x1 and 4x1 common, I have taken this here. Right, so when I inside, what I am left with, this 4x and this minus 1, so I have written it here, 4x and minus 1. Of course this has to be equal to 0. Now to find the roots of the quadratic equation, I will equate both this factor equal to 0. So 4x minus 1 is equal to 0, or 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. Right, I have equated this factor equal to 0 here, and I have equated this factor is equal to 0 here. Right, so now I will add plus 1 to both sides of this equation as well as this equation. So I will get 4x is equal to 1. Here also I will get 4x is equal to 1. Now I will divide both sides of this equation by 4. I will also divide both sides of this equation by 4. So I will get x is equal to 1 by 4, or x is equal to 1 by 4. So this quadratic equation has two roots which are same. X is equal to 1 by 4. So these are the root of this quadratic equation. Now we will solve NCERT Maths Class 10 Chapter 4 Exercise 4.2 Question 1 Part 5. The Part 1 to 4 of question number 1 has already been solved, and the videos are already uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch those videos for the solution of Part 1 to 4 of question number 1 of this exercise. In this exercise we have to solve the quadratic equation by factorization. The given equation is 100x square minus 20x plus 1 is equal to 0. When we want to solve any equation by factorization, what we have to do is we have to split this middle term into two terms in such a way that when we will add up these two terms, they should be equal to minus 20x, and when I will multiply these two terms, so their multiplication should be equal to the multiplication of coefficient of x square and constant term. So what we will do is, first of all we will multiply a and c, means we will multiply the coefficient of x square which is 100 and this constant term which is 1. So when I will multiply 100 with 1, I will get positive 100. So from here I can very easily say that if I want to get a positive multiplication of two numbers, then both those numbers should either be negative, or both those numbers should either be positive. Next is that the addition of both those numbers should be minus 20. So it means that both those numbers should be negative, because only then I will be able to get the negative addition. I can never get negative addition if I will add two positive numbers. So both the factor has to be negative. So now what I will do is I will start taking negative factors of 100. The first pair will be minus 100 and minus 1. Right. But this pair will never satisfy this condition. The addition of minus 100 and minus 1 will be minus 101. So I will reject this, because this is not able to satisfy this condition. Now I will take the next pair. The next pair is minus 2 and minus 50. Again they will not add up to minus 20, so I will also reject this pair. I will take next pair. Next pair is minus 4 and minus 25. Again that will not add up to minus 20, so again I have to reject this, because this is not satisfying this condition. Then I will take next pair. Again this has to be rejected, because its addition is minus 25, whereas I need minus 20, so I have to reject this pair also. Now I will get next pair. I will take next pair. Next pair is minus 10 and 10. If I will add this pair, so I will get minus 20. So these are the two factor or number which are satisfying this condition as well as this condition. Now I will fill this value here. I will fill minus 10 here, and this another value I will fill here. So what I will get is 100x square is as it is, which I have taken. Now here I will fill minus 10, so I will get minus 10x. I will again I have placed this minus 10 here. Now I will place this minus 10 here, so again I will get minus 10x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now I will take 10x common from these two terms. So if I will take 10x common from these initial two terms, I will be left with 10x minus 1, because if I will take 10x common from 100x square, so I will be left with 10x, and if I will take 10x common from minus 10x, I will be left with minus 1. Now I will take minus 1 common from these last two terms. So if I will take minus 1 common, I will be left with 10x minus 1. Why? Because if I will take minus 1 common from minus 10x, I will be left with positive 10x, and if I will take minus 1 common from plus 1, I will again be left with minus 1. This is equal to 0. Now I will take 10x common, this 10x and this 10x common outside. So when I will take 10x minus 1 common, so what I will be left with is, I will be left with 10x minus 1. Why? Because I have taken this 10x minus 1 common here, so I am left with 10x minus 1, right? Because this 10x I have taken here, this I am left with 10x, which I have written here. I have taken 10x minus 1 common, I am left with minus 1, so I have written it like this. This is equal to 0. Now to find the root of this quadratic equation, we have to equate both these terms equal to 0. So 10x minus 1 is equal to 0, and this term is also equal to 0, so 10x minus 1 is again equal to 0. Now I will add 1 to both sides of this equation. I will get 10x is equal to 1. I will also again add 1 to both sides of this equation. I will again get 10x is equal to 1. I will divide both sides of this equation by 10. I will get x is equal to 1 by 10. I will divide both sides of this equation also by 10, so I will get x is equal to 1 by 10. So it is very clear that the root of this quadratic equation are equal, both the root are equal, which are equal to 1 by 10. So these two are the root of this quadratic equation.